Sis and Tell, Sis and Tell. A whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand up. Alison's on TV. And when they hop on the phone, it's the place you want to be. Sis and Tell. A whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man. What's going on?
So I'm going old school with parenting, and I'm reading Ruby a book right now. And she's 13, so that's why I say
actually
it's
not old school. I will tell you, having been highly involved with many literacy programs, that you should never stop reading aloud to your children or your neighbors or your grandchildren or the people you watch or babysit. So she's right size, right age. She never outgrows being read to. Don't you listen to Audible books? No, who am I talking to? I listen to Audible books, so even I enjoy being read to, and I'm 50 plus.
Well, I have to listen to audiobooks because Aaron likes to listen to them on car trips. So it's me and Aaron and whatever. Yeah, the last one we listened to was Terry, the NPR lady. I always want to call her Lois
Terry
Waitzis,
Gross.
but that's no, maybe it's not. No, her father was. Oh my God, what is her name? We listened. It was like a 10-hour book. She's NPR. She's based in DC. It was Lunches with Ruth, and she was close friends with RBG. And her father was like a violinist, like a savant, and since childhood. And God, what is her name? I want to say it's Terry, and it starts with an R. Lunches with Ruth by Nina Totenberg. Thank you.
Nina Totenberg. That has nothing to do with Terry Gross.
I know. I just have like NPR ladies in my head. But it's interesting because, this is an autobiography, and the book I'm reading to Ruby is actually also an autobiography. More specifically, it is my 200-page journal from my Ramah seminar trip to Israel in 1994.
That has got to be the scariest tome I've ever heard of, because you know what your charge is if I die without cleaning out my closet, which is very likely.
I do.
Yeah. What is it?
Destroy all your journals.
Yeah, there's like
Destroy
12 or 14 of them. I don't know why I haven't just
Right.
gone ahead and destroyed them, except for when I
destroy.
Every time I pull one out, I'm like, oh, but some of it's good and some of it's just painful.
Embarrassing. It's painful. So right after I publish them, then I will destroy them.
Okay, so your 200-page journal from Ramah's seminar. So you were 17, right?
No, I wasn't. I was 15, and I hadn't even. I think
How
I
is that
wasn't I
possible?
turning 16.
That can't be possible.
Maybe I was
because
16.
we all went on seminar 16 going on 17, and you turned 17 during the summer.
It was going into
junior year.
You're right. So
it's
I wasn't
a blessing and a
17
curse. I'm always right. You were definitely turning 17 in Israel.
I turned 17 in Israel. You're right. And it's really interesting because my thoughts are that of like a 13-year-old. I feel like kids are like, it's so embarrassing, but I'm just reading it to her. I'm like obsessed.
Have you already read it so
days.
you know that you're not going to read something completely inappropriate, or you're reading it cold?
So I'm reading it cold, but there's some, and Ruby's going to listen to this podcast probably at some point, but there's a couple sentences I've skipped. Right? Or I've readjusted what I'm saying. And, but it's only 5 days into the trip and I've already had a crush on 3 different guys. So
Shocking. Uh-huh. So if you're able to filter and readjust your 16 going on 17-year-old self, it's shocking that you can't apply that same logic and finesse to your 45-year-old self.
I don't need to edit myself. What are you saying? That is some BS. There's nothing.
See, there we go. Case in point.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Like that acronym is so bad. You curse. You just don't curse while we're recording it.
I don't curse as far as anybody knows in public.
My children know all the words at this point, and they know when to say them and when not to. Okay, maybe not so much when not to, but it's a learning curve.
Well,
We're
if you're
getting
going
there.
old school parenting, I'm going no school parenting because the last chicken officially flew the coop this morning to go on his gap year to Israel for a year. And the funniest
Which
thing
is
is, yeah.
I was just gonna say it's a weird expression because chickens don't really fly. So,
I
like,
bet they could
can't
if
really,
they tried. If they tried, they could. I feel like if
really turned into
something,
chicken. They kind of disappear.
yeah,
Turned into
they
chicken
sort of
Popeye.
flutter and they get a little, if they get a little speed, they get off the ground a little bit. I mean, they don't fly, but they can hop and
But Levi's,
yeah. Anyway,
Levi's
back to
gone.
Levi. Levi left.
Yeah.
And the 2 days, sort of running up to this, I found myself doing exactly what I did when I was pregnant with him, which is totally nesting. I started cleaning everything. And then the culmination of this, which Alan was not very happy about, is I rearranged the entire den yesterday, which includes a 4-piece, fairly sizable and heavy sectional couch, which I not only took apart myself and then cleaned in between the parts that were, put together, but then moved and rearranged the whole room so the couch is now facing the whole other way. I really like what I've done. And then I had these 2 chairs in my office and I moved them out
Where's
and moved
the
another couch in.
TV?
The TV never
I don't
moves.
understand.
Well, I'll
But
have
then
to
the
send you a
TV's
visual.
behind the couch.
No,
This makes no sense.
No. Instead of like making an L one way, it just made an L the other way. So it's of course still facing the television.
Okay.
I just moved.
That was confusing.
Yeah, no, it's just it's not blocking the room. And now it's opened up to
Can
the
you
room.
see? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So before it was facing also the window, and now
Correct.
its
And now
back
it's-
is to the
yes.
window.
Yes, I'm trying to
That's a
feng
good
shui
idea.
it a little so that when you walk into a room, your back is not to, you're not looking at people's backs. You're looking at their fronts, which, it's like in my office. When somebody walks in, I can see them. I'm not facing behind.
So this nesting thing is not new to Levi leaving. You have been doing this for the last 6 months because every podcast you talk about another organization
true.
reality show you've watched and how you've incorporated it into your life. I'm always seeing things different behind your back in your office. You're like color coding books. You're getting rid of
I think
stuff.
all of that was building up to the ultimate home remake because I just really, this room looks totally different. My office even looks different. Actually, I cleaned up. My office has never been this clean, or it hasn't been this clean in many, many moons. But anyway, all of this to say is not only did I turn into the nester like I was when I was pregnant with all 3 boys, really, but I ended on a great note this morning. So we take them to the airport, and with, post-COVID and there's longer lines and limited staff. And I said, look, it's a 7:00 flight. You have to check your luggage 45 minutes before you get on the flight. And this was just going to Newark. This isn't even his flight to Israel, but he's getting to Newark like 100 hours.
This was direct.
No, there's nothing direct.
Chattanooga to Newark?
Chattanooga,
Oh,
Atlanta to Newark. So I said, let's get to the airport around 5:30. That's plenty of time to check the luggage in and get to the gate. They sort of made fun of me, but agreed. We get there at 5:35. We get in line.
Wait, how much
Yes.
luggage? How much luggage could he bring?
He only has 2 bags, so 2 check bags and then a carry-on.
For a year?
For a year, yeah. So he packed
Does he have
pretty
to bring
well.
his bedding?
No bedding and no towels. So that was good. That's half the battle.
Okay.
So we get there and I realize, they're always flying with me and I have status, but he's not Sky Priority. So we started in the Sky Priority line. I was like, you're not Sky Priority. Let's get in the, let's be honest, we'll get in the right line. Well, there was only one person checking people in, and we are the first people in the regular line. We got in line at like 5:35 a.m. We didn't get to check the luggage until after 6 because the one woman working the counter refused to take anybody from our line. And I was getting increasingly more agitated at the injustice of the whole situation because it
Usually
makes no
they
sense.
take turns.
Thank you.
They'll do like 3 from priority.
Thank you. This is what normal.
So she's waiting for.
Yeah. So
she's waiting for no one to be in line.
She was waiting for
priority
no one
line?
to be in the priority line, and you know what happens as soon as she takes 2, 4 more come. So everybody in my line and then my line probably had 10 to 12 people, and then increasing. And so the guy behind me and I are just going crazy. Levi was getting very upset. He's like, just step out of line. I don't need you. You have a really ugly face on right now. You look like you're going to pick a fight. He knew something was coming. I said, I'm not. I said, this is just not how the system works. I said, even if I was standing in the Sky Party line, I would say, you can take somebody over there. This is not right. Like, even if we only have one person checking IDs in TSA pre-check because our airport's so small, and this is what they do. They'll take 3 from pre-check, 1 or 2 regulars. 3, they alternate. I'm fine with that. And on either side, this was insane. So finally, a second agent comes, but she was troubleshooting with a couple who, I don't know what was wrong, for 20 minutes. She's troubleshooting. So finally, I walk over, and Levi he just is beside himself because he knew I was going to say something and just wanted me to go away. So I said, man,
you're
and I was
standing up for everyone in line
right.
behind you, though.
Thank you. So I walk up, and I understand. I'm not rude. I'm not angry. I'm just curious. So I said, ma'am, do you think there's any way you could alternate with the lines? Because we've been waiting for 30 minutes. And she goes, no, I have to do everyone in Sky Party. They all get on the plane first. They all get their luggage checked first. But guess what? Everybody's going to get on the plane eventually. So just wait your turn.
It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
my God.
I go back, and the guy behind me just looks at me and shrugs. And Levi is now so bright red. He is so mad. He's like, you need to walk away. So look, I started with nesting, from, really full circle. And I ended with embarrassing him to death, which is really, I'm not sure how I could complete the parental circle anymore. And then, of course, I hugged him, told him I loved him, and cried a little. So it was a great day. I think I was just more frustrated.
Cried.
But back, yeah.
Can we go back?
Are
you exaggerating?
What?
Were you really in line for 30 minutes?
It took me less time to drive home from the airport than it did to wait in line with him to check his luggage.
Was this a Delta agent?
Yes, and I
This
love
makes
Delta.
no sense.
I am a Delta loyalist. And here's the other thing. Not to harp on this. People who don't fly probably don't care about this, but let me tell you something. I'm a Delta loyalist. I've got status. I've been flying Delta for years. I even have the Delta American Express card. I am all in. But because I am status, right? If I'm standing in that Sky Party line, you've got me. I'm going to fly Delta anytime I can because I am obviously a loyal customer. The people that I was in line with who don't have status are they're flying whatever airline they want to fly. So it's really a messed up paradigm because the agents should be catering to the non-status people in equal measure to try to win them over to become status people, right?
Well,
I mean,
also,
that's not,
I
guess that is incentive to be status if you're going to, ignore all of us, but I felt very ignored. I was very bitter. I'm still bitter. It is not a good system.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the other line, and it's not because we don't fly that much. So, but also with Delta, you have to pay for every bag, right? With Southwest.
Not if you have status. I get all my bags free, and anybody who flies with me gets all their bags free.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't. It's very expensive. Until you get, it's like this, it doesn't make sense. Southwest, it comes with bags. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and we don't have Southwest.
I like when things come with baggage.
I would fly Southwest.
Not emotional baggage.
I would like to be loyal to another airline. Come to Chattanooga. Make my day. Actually, in the past 2 weeks, I've flown American and United, so there's that. But
Did you have this agent? Wait. Did you get the agent that you talked to, or did you have
No.
another one?
You know what ended up happening? The woman, and I know this woman because I fly a lot, she was still on hold trying to troubleshoot for this older couple and called us over and checked Levi in and his luggage in while she's multitasking. She was incredible. So you know what? Kudos. I wish I knew her name. Kudos to her. She's been at that airport for a while. She managed to do everything at once. That other woman, I mean, it made zero sense. It still makes zero sense. Just alternate. Alan and I even on the way home discussed it. A 3-to-1 ratio would have been fine, right? 3 status people, 1 from the other line. just get our line moving at all. She literally ignored us. And then, I didn't tell you this part, there was at least one person in there, and she's like, he goes, oh, I'm not Sky Priority. I'm supposed to be in that line, I guess. She goes, it's okay. Just come on. So I'm like, you know what? We were at least honest and went into the other line to admit we weren't Sky Priority. If I knew we could buck the system, I would have gone over there, but I don't know.
But also, I have a follow-up question for her. What if the Sky Priority line never died down? Would she have never gotten to you?
Right.
This is making me angry because her mode of thinking doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because airplanes, they just keep on flying out. That means people keep on coming.
Yeah.
If she had a consistent stream of people, well, you could have been sitting there for an hour and then you would have missed your flight.
Well, and theoretically at 6:15, they were supposed to cut off any checked baggage. And we checked in around 6:05. That's how long we had been waiting. Yeah.
Oh no!
But
the people
because of
behind
Chattanooga, I
you.
guess they have leeway. And the only other reason I was really upset about this, we've been talking about this way too long, was my nephew came to visit me, and Miles, and he came to visit from Tampa, was not flying Delta, this other very small airline, and the agent wasn't even at the gate. So the 45-minute elapsed, and he didn't get to check his bag. And he called me panicked because he wasn't going to be able to fly out that night. And the next flight was like 4 days later.
Oh, Chattanooga.
So, yeah, he ended up, Alan went back and got his bag for him. So we figured that out, and then I just shipped it to him. But anyway, all this to say is there should be systems in place. There should be systems in place.
Don't fly through Chattanooga.
No, don't fly through Chattanooga if you've got
Airport.
check bag and no
Too
status.
small.
Don't fly if you don't have
Right.
status. It's not worth it. You're going to get ignored, and then your day's going to start off all backward. That's it.
Well, you know, the Atlanta airport is totally different. It is a well-oiled machine, and then you have all these choices, right?
Yes.
So there's you can get that pre-check, TSA pre-check to get through security quicker. You've got clear.
Got it.
Which is awesome. That's what we have. And then there's the regular security line, which absolutely gets backed up, but
Yes.
it looks worse than it actually is. You're like cattle, but they are very efficient at the Atlanta airport.
Atlanta is a well-oiled machine. Love the Atlanta airport.
One time I was flying probably for work or something, and I had these like crazy boots that I had that looked like gladiator boots. That's what I call them. They're gladiator boots. I'm in line for coffee. I get out. I get my iced coffee. This guy comes up to me. He is an employee of the airport, and I know because he is wearing a badge. And he goes, "I would be remiss if I didn't tell you how sexy those shoes are."
Oh no!
And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so uncomfortable." And he was old. He was like your age.
That is not funny.
I was younger.
Okay,
I'm
then
just
that's
saying,
funny.
I was about 5 years younger, but I must have been like, 35, and he was like 55. You're not 55, I know, but like he was like way too, like, I was like, okay, like, men, like, just keep your opinions to yourself, right? Like, just, you may think it's a compliment. I don't know what's going on with me in grocery stores, but I have older gentlemen constantly hitting on me at the grocery store.
The grocery store is apparently the new pickup bar. This is what people say.
Oh my God.
Someone told me Whole Foods is ripe with single people who are
It's not
finding dates in the produce section specifically.
And speaking of the produce section, I'm not walking around with a pineapple in my cart, because you know what that means.
We know what that means. We learned that the hard way.
Means that you are a swinger. I'm not a swinger. But here's the thing. I do love pineapple. So, and now I'm like, I can't buy a whole pineapple now because people are I'm going to have to like hide it. Like, when you were a teenager and used to go to the grocery store and get yourself tampons and it was embarrassing and you'd hide it underneath stuff. I'm now going to have to do that with a pineapple because people are going to think that I'm a swinger. People don't get the wrong
idea. I agree. Hey, can we go back to the airport real quick? Because I forgot to tell you something very exciting. I have a new job for you to add to your resume.
I have a new job for me too. Tell me your job for me.
Okay. Your job is to go to the Atlanta airport with Milo and to be a pet greeter. meaning that you get to stand around all day and say hi to people, and people can pet Milo. And I know
Like
this.
Walmart greeters?
Yes.
But at
an
the
airport greeter with your pet. I was in the Dallas airport, which I rarely, if ever, fly into, and there was a guy standing there with a Great Dane. Now, you know how much I love Great Danes and the just giant dogs.
Them.
And it really, like this Marmaduke looking dog, it's impossible not to just, I mean, he's very identifiable and so lovable. And his handler, the first thing I think is you think it's a service dog.
They have to be trained.
Right. Well, they have to be trained. But when you see a dog in an airport or a public space, I always assume it's a service dog, especially if he's or she has a blanket on them.
Do not assume that.
That it's a service
dog? That they're a
dog?
service dog. Because people get fake service dog vests for their dogs.
I get that. But if I see somebody official at the airport with a dog, I'm assuming it's like
a working dog.
A working dog, yes. And so
that's different than like a service
dog,
like a bomb-sniffing, drug-sniffing dog.
Yes, like a dog who's working. So let's call it a working dog. So,
okay.
So this guy, though, who was handling the dog had a big, bright red vest that said, "You can pet him" or something. And then people probably go, "You can pet him," because I think people are disarmed by the fact that you can pet him because we've been trained so much, like, especially with the police dogs, don't get near the dog, don't pet him. And I'm like, "I can?" He goes, "Yes." And then he has a little clicker. So I'm pretty sure he gets to count, he counts how many people actually pet the dog, and he probably gets extra credit for that. So I'm like, I'd love to pet the dog. He was so cute. Oh my gosh. I'm like, Amanda would love this. If they just want a friendly person with a big dog, that Amanda's got the job. I think you should call the Atlanta airport and see if they need pet handling greeters.
Okay, so let's be real. First of all, it would be Milo's job.
Yes.
Let's be Milo's job. It's not me. If it was,
but Milo's the perfect one
Amanda,
to greet. Yeah.
Then I would be.
Right. It's your job to be with
greeter.
Milo to make sure nobody mishandles him. But
right.
he's the perfect
be
dog because he doesn't lick.
Though.
He doesn't lick. He doesn't jump on people. He's so calm. He's so loving. He does shed a lot.
The only thing he does is he does the peer paw, which is like if you stop petting him, he'll scratch the crap out of you.
Yeah, it may not be good for airport.
Just have to keep his. I gotta keep his nails filed.
Could you put him in those little coverings, those little dog shoes, and that could prevent him from pawing
dog
somebody?
Shoes on him. That's mean. That's mean.
Okay.
But you know what? I do have a new job. I'm seriously might pursue.
What?
And so I have. It's so exciting because I really hope I get this opportunity. And you're gonna think this is fake, but it's not fake. But after Oscar and Ruby's bar and bat mitzvah, this guy DJ Vlad, who runs Party Express Entertainment,
are you gonna be?
He followed up.
Oh no.
He followed up with me, of course, to ask how the event went. He's no longer like the DJ.
Are you gonna be a party motivator? Just tell me. Are you gonna be a party motivator?
He said, "I heard you really got that party going.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to be a dance motivator, I'll put it on my list." And I said, "I don't know if you are being sarcastic, but this is a dream. But this is a dream of mine. And I have been motivating people to dance
for free.
1982.
Did you send him your reel?
Since 1982.
Did you send him your reel?
Send him.
I knew it.
I was thinking I needed an official reel of me motivating people. I need to do like a montage of me. I mean, there's that. Look, I have footage from
the Miller bar mitzvah.
Miller was it?
Yeah.
The Miller.
Alan,
no,
Todd,
pick
Alan's,
one.
Todd.
Todd. It was Todd Miller's bar mitzvah. And me and the breakdancing crew. We were motivating people to dance, or at least watch me dance. I was maybe motivating people to watch me. But throughout the years, if there's an empty dance floor, I'm the first one on it. People are appreciative of it because I make people comfortable to get on the dance floor.
Here's the only thing I'm going to say, and take this as constructive dance motivator criticism. That I do. I think you are all that and a bag of chips, and you have you have no resistance to being the first out there. You get people. What I also understand that dance motivators need to do, I'm just going to give you this bit of advice, is
they
need to make
you're gonna say.
the other person feel like the rock
Yes.
star, not the attention
100%.
on you. Okay. As long as we're clear about that.
No, that's and I feel like there's also some training that I would like to do. I would like to do dance motivator training.
What?
There's like certain dance choreography
motivator
I need to
training.
Learn. Yeah.
You really think there's dance motivator training?
I don't know, but I think 100% there should be.
Okay.
I can't just go to an event and be like, and they can be like, oh, Amanda, motivate. Like I have intuition. I have dance motivator intuition, but I feel like there's a protocol to follow. There's a way they do it. Also, I don't think I'm appropriate necessarily for bar and bat mitzvah parties unless they want a kid motivator and an adult party motivator. Like I should go to weddings. I think I'd be great at weddings and like mitzvahs where they want the adults to get on the dance floor. I look much younger than I am, so maybe I'd be okay depending on what I was wearing. But 100% you're right. It's about who the party is about, whether it be the bride and groom or the bar bat mitzvah or the kid.
But not just them. I'm saying I think the dance motivator is meant to make people feel comfortable on the dance, but also make them feel like they're good dancers. Not, hey, look at me. I'm good on the dance floor. I'm not saying you do that. I know. I'm saying
you are saying.
I'm just saying in case you were inclined to do that, you should do the opposite.
What I do is I work on dance steps with people. Very simple dance steps. Okay. Look, case in point, my husband still dances like a 12-year-old boy at bar mitzvah parties, but I make him feel like he is a good dancer.
Or you like dancing with him because he makes you look even better. I'm just throwing that out there as an alternative narrative to this situation.
Did I tell you at the time about the wedding we went to and we got into a little dance contest with this couple next to us and we realized about 15 minutes in that they were unaware of us?
It can happen. It can happen.
Yeah, I was like, Aaron, I think we're having a contest, but they are not. They don't even know we're here. They're so good at dancing.
They beat us. They don't even know it. So it's funny. We'll just continue on the flying and airplane thing. So on my way back from a recent trip, I was sitting next to a guy, and as we landed, he said to me, he's like, nice, good flight. I go, it was a good flight. He said, the pilot is like God. And so the man had a little bit of an accent. I could tell English was a second language for him. So I wasn't sure if I heard him correctly. And I said, excuse me? He says, the pilot is like God. I said, okay. And I didn't know where he was going with this. But he said, if you think about it, we are literally entrusting our lives with someone we've never met, we don't know, who's flying a plane that we can't fly, and to get us from one point to another safely. I said, you're absolutely right. I said, and it's also a miracle. It's a miracle that we even get up on this plane. Like this giant, metal bird is able to take us up and then land us in a different city. It's really amazing. So I thank that very nice gentleman who sat next to me to give me a much needed grounding, no pun intended, and appreciation for flying.
Oh God, now that's giving me Xanax for my next flight, which is in 2 weeks. I'm in a metal bird. Oh my God.
The pilot thinks he's God. He has a God complex. What are we going to do?
Sometimes you don't even see. Sometimes you don't even get to see the pilot too.
I know. And since I started with some minor complaining about the airline industry, I would like to end on one high note, and which is to say, Patty on United, the flight from Chattanooga to Chicago last week, you are an amazing flight attendant, and we had some mechanical issues. The flight was delayed, and not one person on that flight complained because Patty, the flight attendant, kept us all very calm. And she even went around, she goes, could I see a show of hands? If I put on a pot of coffee, who would drink it? And about 7, 8 people raised their hand, and she made a fresh pot of coffee. So there is something to be said. My experience this morning was, I think, unusual, but I think people in the industry are working hard to get us off the ground to our next destination in comfort and safely. And I just want to say thank you.
We'd also like to thank Patty for being our latest Sis Tell super fan. She's listening right now. I'm sure Alison told her about the podcast.
She may be.
And thank you
Yeah.
for the almonds, the salted almonds, and giving me 2 napkins last time, Patty. Patty's always my flight attendant when I fly United also. Thank you, Patty.
Thank the Patty in your life.
Well, thanks for listening to the latest Sis and Tell podcast. Share us with your friends. Share us with your family. Share us with your foes.
As always, this has been Amanda and Alison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.
Sis and Tell.